as most of you are not well aware of, I'm running for presidency in the year 2020 president. This is a video for my 2020 presidential election. Sorry, I just woke up. And of course, you can vote for me for 2016. It doesn't matter. But anyway, in this one, we're going to talk about college professors and social justice warriors. How to crack down on them. And of course, you could get more of this, more other videos. And of course, check the description to my website. I have stuff, to my YouTube channel, which you're probably looking this on, and of course, my ebook stuff. But anyways, as President of the United States, let's face this fact: most of these public universities, they get public money, right? They get your tax dollars, and yet they're only teaching students one ideology. And of course, what happens when a person's ideology is not challenged? They become very extreme in their beliefs. Well, I will cut all funding, every penny, except for to the sciences, every penny to these colleges and universities until they do several things. One, hire a more diversified faculty. I don't mean just in ethnicity and nationality. I mean in ideology. They need to have more conservatives on their payroll, as well as liberals. Nope. This will keep them from becoming too extreme, because they will be forced to deal with people with different opinions. These college professors, they've done a good job of getting rid of anybody that thinks differently than them. And they make sure that their students think the same way as them. And they're part of the curriculum, not just for college, but through the entire time that students are in school, from kindergarten to 12th grade. They will have to learn. Of course, like I've said in my other videos, the same stuff, critical thinking, how to prepare an argument, logical thinking, science, of course, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and they need to learn art, music, a foreign language, things like that. But what else will they have to learn? When they're learning how to form an argument, they will have to learn how to research ideologies they disagree with, and they will need to form an argument defending ideologies and beliefs that they disagree with. By doing so in college and through K through 12, they will learn other people's opinions, how other people think, and it will prevent the majority of people from becoming extremists. Because it'd be kind of hard to tell people, well, this particular ideology thinks this and this, blah, blah, blah. And hey, you've already researched it. Or you've actually had to hear the argument. So you're like, hey, you may have a PhD, but you're a dumbass. I mean, think about it, though. You hear a college professor say, well, if they allow our students to carry guns on campus, what's to prevent one of my students from shooting me when I give them a bad grade? Of course, anyone with a real education, any common sense, would ask that professor, well, what's to stop them now? Or you hear, well, if they carry guns, then we got to be careful what we say in the classroom, because they'll start shooting. Well, okay, is that happening now? Do people start shooting each other now for stupid ideologies? No, gangbangers may do it, but they're not getting their guns legally. We will cut all fundings until these universities learn to do. Of course, no, just immediately say, hey, all funding cut. Say, if you don't do this, you lose your funding. Because, classes like women's studies, come on, let's face facts. They're not teaching them anything true. And a lot of these social justice warrior classes, they're only teaching them their ideology. See, this is what, before I get to the women's studies, this is what I like about science. Science is just demonstrable. You have to demonstrate it. You got to do your research. One second. Sorry about that. But in science, you got to demonstrate. It's demonstrable. I'm sorry. My brain's kind of frozen. I'm gonna need it anyways. But you got to demonstrate. You got to do research. It has to go through peer review, and we're talking about scientific peer review, not peer reviewed at these liberal women's studies classes. These are extreme liberals, because they're so extreme that liberals come across as conservatives compared to them. Now, those type of their peer review is being reviewed by people who think exactly like them. Scientific peer review does not work that way. You have to, they will read your work or you present it to them, and you have to convince them that, you know, you deserve funding, that you deserve to be listened to, and you got to convince them that, you know, what you found is what you found, that there are very little errors, and, you know, that, you know, it couldn't be caused by instrumental errors or whatever. You know, it's very difficult to get through peer review. Believe me, it is very difficult. I've had to go through peer review myself. It's not the most pleasant or easiest thing to do, because one little mistake and they will tear you apart. But, you know, you write a peer review in women's studies, how the patriarchy, you know, come on, they don't have to, they just make things up. Just like in religion, they make things up. Because first off, this is how things work, okay? It's like religion. When someone's trying to convince you of their religion, you know, it's not your job to argue about it or disprove their religion, their God. You ask them three simple questions. You know, some simple questions. I got this from the atheist experience. You know, a lot of them, few members of them tend to be like social justice warriors. But anyways, you ask them, do not reference anything, no, your pamphlet, your book, or whatever. Tell me what you believe. And then why do you believe it? And why I should believe it. Well, the same thing when you're in your women's study class, you know. Okay, why do you believe there is such a thing as a patriarchy? Convince me that there is a patriarchy. And also, of course, ask them, what do you mean by patriarchy? Because I can assure you there's no such thing as a patriarchy in Western society. And, you know, same other little things they believe. You know, there's no problem. You know, if you have one student argue that disagrees with the patriarchy, goes and looks up their information and argues for it while someone else argues against it. You know, they go look up information. You know, that's how a women's studies class should be run. Also, you know, learn the history of women's suffrage and things like that. That's how it should be run. You know, and we had the Equal Opportunity Act, Employment Act. You know, cannot be discriminated against based on race, religion. You know, Well, I would add sexual orientation and ideology to that list. Someone shouldn't be terminated from a job or a college position because of who they're attracted to, or, well, gender identity too. We'll add that too. And of course, their ideology. It's just so stupid, you know. If you don't think like everyone else, who cares? College professors have insulated themselves real good against other ideologies, other beliefs. Anyone that thinks differently than them, they were ostracized. They turn on each other. These social justice warriors turn on each other pretty freaking good. It's a shame that how they are, because, you know, they're very dogmatic, they're very strict in their thinking. They have all these rules and everything in their thinking. They claim they don't, but they do. It's a shame, but if you want to, you're not going to put an end to it, but you will weaken them if you force them to have to open up to other ideologies by telling them, hey, you're going to lose all your money. And same with private schools. If you get any type of financial aid or anything, you better do this or we cut your funds. Of course, I get rid of that Common Core and all that garbage because, let's face it, Common Core is stupid. And I've mentioned, you know, like, well, I would add, you know, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you know, math, you know, and of course, as president, I would do what I can to get rid of the teachers' union and the police union. You know, or weaken them enough that you can get rid of bad teachers and bad cops. But since this is about teaching and not police, we're not going to talk about the police too much. But teachers, you know, I've been a teacher before, and there are a lot of bad teachers. They just don't care. They gave up. You know, and more things they need to learn in school is, of course, parenting, nutrition, debt management. You know, how to handle the finances. First aid, CPR. Some of these things are what conservatives will not be happy about. And I don't give a crap what they're not happy about. Or the liberals. Because you got to do what helps people in general. Anger management, they need to learn how to control their tempers. And this is all schools, not just, you know, the poor schools or the ghettos, you know. You know, they learn basic science. And of course, we need to bring back things such as wood shop, metal shop, automotive repair, things like that. Because, not everybody wants to be a scientist, and you shouldn't force everybody to be a scientist. The problem is, they make each schools business friendly, so, businesses can have little robots that make them rich. These elitists, they want to be rich, so that's what we do. We brainwash kids so they just make the rich richer. But, you got to change that. They need to learn how to, if they want to learn how to do electrical engineering, well, I'm sorry, not electrical engineering, but, electrical work and stuff like that, they get some of the basics, and, you send them off to these places, help them get into welding programs and things like that. But maybe they want to be a welder, maybe they want to be an electrician or a plumber, there's so much better stuff for some of these people who don't have the knack for science. And it has nothing to do with them being stupid. Because I can't play a musical instrument for anything. I cannot play a musical instrument. And I cannot draw. There's some things that people are good at, some things that people aren't. Forcing everybody into a certain box is one of the problems with the educational system in the United States. And social justice warriors have themselves in a little box. And the same with these college professors. Even in college, people need to learn debt management and, things like that. Human nutrition, first aid, CPR. That should be something that everybody learns. And, of course, parenting skills. And then, of course, many other things that I would add. But, I can't think of all of it offhand. And, of course, I think everyone should take a course in microbiology. I believe microbiology, learning about microbes and diseases, is probably a very important thing. People need to learn good hygiene and microbes and how not to overdo it when it comes to hygiene. And, health, learn about their health. Thanks. For free to like, subscribe, for free to watch my other videos. For free to check out my description and, because I have a link to my website. Thanks.